Kiruri. Beatrice Kiruri is an award-winning HR professional with over 15 years of experience. Passionate about fostering inclusive, engaging workplaces, she empowers organizations to excel through growth-centered strategies. Renowned as a transformative leader, Beatrice combines insight, energy, and humor in her work, making her a sought-after consultant, trainer, and speaker. She specializes in leadership, employee engagement, diversity and inclusion, HR risk management, and sales management, inspiring growth and excellence in every audience she reaches. Let us put our hands together as we bring to the pulpit our very own Beatrice Kiruri. Speak to us.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out to meet us. God bless you. And in your time, when you'll be celebrating, may God bring you people that will hold you up. I have prepared for you. Are you ready for me? Yes. I have 3 stories for you. So I will start with the first one. And I'll start just the African way. We say Africa is our continent and Africa is our business. So we must bring some African into this. So I start by asking you, story? Story? All right. So the first story is about my sister. She's in business. She's called Irene, and I'm sure she's watching me from somewhere. So my sister had started her business as soon as she completed her training. She was in the fashion industry and was working from home. And she grew. She's really talented in beauty and all those kind of things. And she grew and her business was really doing well. But she was working from home. And at some point, she needed to move into the capital city. And so she told the family to pray and her friends. And we started praying for her to get a premises for her to operate her business. Now, my family is also in business. I think out of the 9 children, I'm the only one who is employed. And my father always wanted us to get into business and not to get into employment. And when he was alive, he always used to ask me, "Bado unafanyia waindi kazi?" And I had to tell him, "No, Dad, I'm working," because I was the only one who chose to go that route. So anyway, so we had family in River Road, we have family in town having business, and so we were looking for a place for her to move from home and come to town to start her business. And she looked and looked and looked, and eventually she found somewhere, a good shop. At that time, I was very engaged in training. And so I was traveling around Africa, training, and I never had time to go and see where she had opened up. Until now, when I came back to the country, and she told me, "Shiko," that's the name they call me at home, "Shiko, come and see where I found a place." And we went. Shock on you. I remember when I went into that street, I looked and I said, "Oh my God." I didn't know what to tell her because she was very excited about this. She was so happy. She's telling me, "Look, this is what I'm going to do with this shop. I'm going to put mirrors over here." And I'm thinking, which street is this in town? How are people going to come here and buy beauty products? Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that she's right now located in Dubai or Dubois, depending on how you pronounce it. At the time she took up that engagement in Dubois, Latema Road was doing better. So that was why I was asking her, why did you take... There was nothing in Dubois. It is even a street we never used to go to. But right now it is the leading street when it comes to beauty. And she's marked there in the middle, having her beauty products and having a very big shop because she started off early. What did I learn about that? That when you are taking a risk, because she took a risk to move from Kimathi Estate, where she used to have her business, to come into town, have a risk village. You will meet people like me who have no experience at all in the area you want to take a risk. Because it was very easy for me, I'm employed. I don't know how to make business decisions. She likes me, but we have all the other siblings that we have who encouraged her and told her, "Come on, what you are making, this place will pick up at some day." And so let me read for you a quote from my book. I quote myself by the author, Beatrice Kiruri. "Risk-taking is like learning a new language. It requires courage, practice, and a willingness to make mistakes. Just as we stumble with a new word and it brings you closer to fluency, embracing risks help us grow, adapt, and uncover new opportunities. To accelerate your risk-taking process, surround yourself with a village of risk-takers." My sister surrounded herself with relatives that were in business. And so she surrounded herself with a village of risk takers, people who are fluent in the risk language. Their insights and experience will help you adapt more quickly and navigate challenges with confidence. When we look at the story of David, King David, when he was facing Goliath, he had relatives like me who were telling him, why are you not back in the field taking care of those small sheep of yours? But once you start taking the risk process, you develop muscles. And it becomes like a stair. You take one risk, it takes you to the next. And that's why David was very confident to say, I have dealt with the bear and I have dealt with the lion. I will deal with Goliath. So do not be afraid to start. Because the minute you start, then you build that muscles. And then you can look back and say, if I dealt with the bear and I've dealt with the lion, I'm going to deal with the Goliath that is in front of me. That's story number one. Clap for me. Well done. Story number two is about myself. The year is 2000. I've just graduated from Daystar University. And if there's something I fear, other than hot porridge and city council, it is failure. I fear failure. So I had already told myself, there is no way I'm going to be sitting at home. So every morning I'd wake up and come to this capital city, attend those free conferences, go to the locals, by the way, go to the locals and listen there and sit. And I learned a lot, strangely, that I use today in my HR practice. I learned a lot because I'd sit there and I'd listen to tenants that are suing their landlords and all that kind of stuff. What I didn't want to do is to be idle. So every morning I got a mega rider. For those that are my age, would come into the city. Mega rider was a document that you'd got and you'd ride on Stagecoach for free. And I'd go around. Strangely at that time, imagine you had to drop hard copy CVs. And I don't know why HR, as much as I'm one of them, used to require us to write applications. So imagine I'm seated at home, I write application, then I come around town, I'm dropping them, I'm photocopying, I'm dropping, looking for a job. And the next day, I'd go and ask, mutanipatia kazi ama mnipati? Kama mnipati nirudishieni CV yangu. Mi siwezi kwenda kuku. Yes. Well, don't tell me you'll keep it. You give me my CV to the next employer. Anyway, one day I told myself, let me take a trip from town. I've dropped my CVs in town. I've dropped in Westlands. Let me do a trip by Mugu. And I check Chiromo area. And when I got to Chiromo area, I'm asking watchmen. It's very good to make friends with the gatekeepers, by the way. They know a lot that is happening in Kapali. So I ask them, kuna kazi huku kwenyu? So they tell me yes. And one day I got lucky in Chiromo, and they told me, huku anaandikanga watu kama nyinyi, young people, so get in there and put your CV. And I got a job. Merchandising job. Unajua ya kusimama kwa supermarket. Alafu unapatia, so I got that. Respect those people. You want to be one of them. So what happened with this company? Would get projects. So this time we were in supermarket selling world space. Mara tunauza vitu za charity sweepstake. Mara tunauza vitu zingine. But so the contract would end, would go home for a while, and then get a new contract and would be recalled back. So at this point, I waited. One contract for world space ended, and we went home. And I waited to be recalled. It was 3 weeks, nobody called me. Am I the one to stay at home? I came back to town. See, there are free conferences. See, there is locals. See, there kuna mahubiri inafanyika. See, I can deal with my heart also. So I came back to town. And one day while I'm walking on Loiter Street, I meet one of the ladies we used to work with in one of those projects. And she told me, Beatrice, Allah, kwani you are not in this new project that we've been taken? And I'm like, there's a new project. No, I haven't been called. And she tells me, yeah, there's an IT company that has opened. They've taken some of us and you've not been picked. Guess, but we are starting on Monday. It was a Friday. And now we're starting on Monday. Who is there? So she tells me we're 15 of us, but it looks like some of us didn't go through. I asked myself, what's the worst that can happen? Nini itafanyika hii Kenya? Monday I report. Do I have a contract? No. So on Monday, I go to this company. She had told me where it is. And it is a group of youths, na tunaketi hapo chini. And I sat at the front. And you can see I'm a good communicator. So everybody knew me in that company. And I participated in internet. I learned how to do internet. I learned how to do all these things. So for I think it was a period of 1 week or 2 weeks. By the end of 2 weeks, I went through the training. I learned everything. I got to know everybody. Everybody knew me. But I didn't have a contract to work for that company. On the last day, I started praying. I'm a born-again Christian. Me, I have a house. You hear those mansions in heaven? I have a beautiful one. And I tell God, keep it next to King David. King David was a vibe, eh? He was quite a vibe. And he's the only person the Bible says was good looking. The Bible describes him as good looking. When you see God telling you you're good looking, man, you're all that. And a bag of chips. So, I like dancing, so I know my mansion is next there on that street. So, on the last day, I'm praying, I'm telling God, wow, I've gone through the training, I know everyone, the trainers know me, we've been having a vibe, what is happening? But now Friday, training inaisha na watu wanaingia job. Na me, I don't have a contract. God is God, eh? Like Mr. Dosso said, eh? He's faithful. At that time, you know, when you're having a challenge, the rest of the people employed there, okay, where hujaandikwa na unajua Monday now you'll be back on the street. While I'm coming from lunch, I meet the CEO and the operations manager, speaking very heavy English. I like people who speak the American English accent. One day I'll have it. The next time I write the next book, I'll have an American accent. And so they're talking, they're saying, you know what, we need to start having a customer service department so that they can serve people. And they're saying, oh yeah, we need to have, Who is me? I stop right there. I tell them, excuse me, do you know what? When it comes to customer service, that's where I thrive. Mimi, my best. I've sold radios, I've done charity sweeps. I wasn't lying. It is true, I've done this job. And I even explained to them, and by the way, Mimi is in a contract. I'm not part of your team, but I've been coming, I've learned internet, I know how to do dial-up, I know how to do this. And they tell me, really, that's so impressive. So you've been part of the training, yes, so you understand everything? No problem. Go to the HR department. Is it okay? In fact, you know, they were American, and American people are very, you know, wana heshima. So they asked me, is it okay if we move you from sales to customer service? Is it okay? I don't have a job, by the way, and there is no way I am going back to doing my law courts and parliament and wasting time in this capital city. I told them yes, so they just told me, go to HR department, tell them to put customer service, and I was their first employee. My star moment.
Let us put it together for Beatrice Kiruri.